I wake up before the alarm. That's the first thing that feels wrong. I don't need to rush anywhere today. I don't need to prove anything. I open my eyes and the ceiling above me is unfamiliar, too high, too clean, too expensive. Then it lands. For one day, I am Neymar Jr. Not a version of him, not a costume. This body, this name, this weight. Neymar da Silva Santos Jr. A global brand disguised as a person. My phone is already vibrating like it's late for something. I haven't said a word yet, and the world is already moving around me differently. When I sit up, someone knocks. Not to ask if I'm awake, just to confirm I exist. Doors don't creak open here, they glide. People don't wait for permission, they anticipate. Security appears without being summoned, like a reflex I didn't know I had. Nobody asks what I want, they ask when. Yesterday, I was invisible. Today, I'm protected from air itself. The shock isn't excitement, it's vertigo. I haven't earned this. My muscles remember nothing. My injuries aren't memories, they're medical files. Yet everyone treats me like something fragile and explosive at the same time. Valuable, dangerous, insured. Messages stack up faster than I can read them. Club officials, sponsors, family, friends who suddenly have urgent thoughts. Each notification feels heavier than the last because now silence is also a statement. If I don't respond, it means something. If I do, it means more. Someone mentions training. Another mentions recovery. Another mentions an appearance. I nod, because nodding is safer than speaking. Every word carries consequences I didn't train for. Sarcasm could cost millions. Honesty could start a headline fire that burns for weeks. I catch my reflection in the mirror, and it's unsettling how familiar this face is to the world, and how foreign it feels to me. This body is admired, criticized, protected, and dissected daily. Fun used to live here once, I can tell. It left quietly, replaced by caution and expectations disguised as opportunity. Rules bend without being announced. Lines disappear. I could walk anywhere today, say almost anything, and people would call it confidence instead of recklessness. That realization is not empowering. It's nauseating. Power arrived overnight, uninvited. No manual, no warm-up. Just pressure wrapped in privilege. The kind that tightens the chest instead of lifting it. For one day, I am Neymar Jr. And the strangest part isn't the fame. It's how fast the world forgets that there's still a person inside it. I know this power expires. That's the only reason I use it. If I were staying here longer, I'd protect it, polish it, wrap it in media training and brand safety. But I'm only renting this name for a day, so I spend it badly. The first thing I do is talk when I'm not supposed to. Not in a press room, not behind a sponsor wall. I sit down with a small group of youth players, no cameras, no club staff hovering, and I answer questions I'm trained to dodge. I tell them the truth about injuries, not the inspirational kind, the boring, lonely kind, the kind where pain becomes background noise and fun quietly leaves without a farewell. Someone records 10 seconds on a phone anyway. By lunchtime, it's labeled Neymar slams modern football. I didn't slam anything. I described it. Apparently that's dangerous now. I skip a scheduled appearance next. No dramatic reason. I just don't show up. Immediately, it's interpreted as rebellion. Journalists invent motives. Analysts argue about my message. Brands panic because absence, when you're famous, is treated like an act of aggression. I go outside alone. That's it. That's the scandal. No entourage, no security wall, just a hoodie and a cap doing absolutely nothing suspicious.
Within minutes, photos appear online. Headlines ask if I'm sending a signal. A club representative calls to remind me of safety protocols. Someone else warns me about optics. Apparently, walking is now a political act. I buy lunch for strangers without posting it. That might be the most radical thing I do all day.
The absence of proof makes people uncomfortable. When generosity isn't branded, it's questioned. Later, a rumor spreads that it was staged anyway. Influence doesn't just magnify truth, it replaces it. In the afternoon, I answer a question publicly that usually gets answered privately. I say that some matches are played more for money than meaning. I don't name names. I don't accuse. I just state an obvious fact everyone already knows and pretends not to. It detonates anyway. People don't argue with the idea. They argue with the mouth it came from. Commentators accuse me of entitlement. Others praise my bravery. Both sides miss the point. The sentence mattered less than the speaker. Truth isn't controversial. Placement is. I notice how every ordinary action gets inflated into a symbol. A smile becomes approval. Silence becomes hostility. A joke becomes a threat. Power stretches language until it snaps. Later, I ignore advice on purpose. I don't correct misquotes. I don't issue clarifications. I let the distortion happen and watch how fast meaning mutates. Within hours, things I never said are being debated seriously on television. Analysts argue over my stance. I didn't take one. They needed me to. That's when it starts to feel less funny. I realize how easily reality bends around influence. Not because people are stupid, but because systems are built to respond to certain voices more than others. If someone else said these things, nothing would happen. Because I say them, institutions shift. Stocks react. Officials comment. Silence becomes impossible. I break another unspoken rule by admitting uncertainty. I say I don't always know what I'm doing. That confidence is often just expectation management. That the image of control is heavier than the lack of it. This confuses people more than any controversy. Ambiguity is harder to monetize. By evening, I'm amused and unsettled in equal measure. I didn't save anyone. I didn't fix anything. I just nudged the system and watched it overcorrect. Power doesn't reveal truth by itself. It reveals how fragile truth already is. As the day winds down, I feel the edges of this borrowed authority fraying. I'm almost relieved. Carrying this much interpretive weight is exhausting. Everything I do becomes something else in someone else's hands. For one day, I used fame without fear. And the most uncomfortable lesson isn't how much I could do, it's how little the meaning of it was ever mine. The day doesn't end with a bang. It thins out. The messages slow first. The phone still buzzes, but the urgency leaks away. Fewer demands, fewer confirmations. Fewer people reminding me that my presence alters schedules and stock prices. It feels like watching a tide pull back, quiet, inevitable, indifferent. I know what's coming. Tomorrow, this name stops opening doors. Protection dissolves. The air thick with caution clears. My words will return to their original weight, personal, disposable, ignorable. Not wrong, just small again. What surprises me isn't the fear of losing power, it's how early the loss begins. Influence doesn't shut off at midnight. It withdraws in advance, politely, like staff clearing chairs before a venue closes. People sense the end before it happens. They always do. I catch myself choosing words more carefully, even though it no longer matters. Habit forms fast when attention punishes mistakes instantly. That's the trap. Fame doesn't just amplify behavior, it trains it, conditions it, makes you rehearse even when no one's watching. The irony lands late and sharp. Borrowing power for one day was effortless. Living inside it would be brutal. Every step today required performance, not talent, interpretation. Every expression monitored, every pause evaluated. Privacy doesn't disappear loudly, it erodes quietly until self-surveillance replaces it. I understand now why silence becomes safer than honesty, why fun evaporates without drama. Pressure doesn't need to shout, it just needs to stay. Fame didn't remove problems, it upgraded them. Instead of wondering if anyone listens, you wonder who's listening too closely. Instead of being ignored, you're constantly explained. Loneliness doesn't vanish, it becomes curated. Even rest requires justification. I think about how temporary this was for me. A controlled exposure, a simulation with an exit. For someone who lives here, there is no tomorrow where the noise stops. There's only management, maintenance, survival dressed up as success. As the last hours thin out, I feel lighter and heavier at the same time. Lighter because the spotlight is loosening. Heavier because I can't unsee how uneven the world is about whose voice matters. How truth doesn't rise, it's lifted selectively by status. Soon I'll return to normal life, to doors that don't open themselves, to opinions that don't echo, to a body that moves without security orbiting it like a second skeleton. I'll be safer in some ways, smaller in others. For one day, I wore influence like a borrowed jacket. It fit well enough, too well, and that's the unsettling part. Power didn't change me. It just showed me how easily meaning can be taken away and how quietly it gives itself to the next name. This video is a fictional, satirical thought experiment created for entertainment and reflection. It does not represent the real thoughts, actions, intentions, experiences, or private life of Neymar Jr. All events, choices, and perspectives shown are imagined and symbolic, designed to explore broader themes of fame, power, influence, and public perception. The narrative is not a factual account, a biography, or an insider portrayal. Any resemblance to real situations is incidental and used solely to examine how society responds to visibility and authority. This content is commentary on power dynamics, not a claim about the individual portrayed.